So again, James Comey, he heads up the FBI, and he gives us this aura of being independent of the government in the sense that he's not controlled by politicians or by the President of the United States. That's Barack Hussein Obama. Well, what did we learn? We learned that the FBI came out and admitted that what took place in San Bernardino was in fact an act of terror. And I made a couple of videos on that, and I said, well, they missed out a couple of words: Islamic extremist terrorism. It's Islamic extremist that needed to be included. But they kept trying to shove it in a different direction, they meaning the FBI, and the chosen one. Well, we don't know yet, and we don't know enough, and it looks like it could be similar to what happened in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Domestic violence. Although Abeles went to, was it Jordan, was there for, 6, 7, 8 months, came back with a beard and came back all messed up in his head. But again, that was deemed to be domestic terrorism. No different than Fort Hood. Now those soldiers whose families finally received their due Purple Hearts, but that's all they received, was the medal. And the survivors that were wounded also, after 5 years of fighting, received the medal, but none of the benefits that goes along with it. So what do we have? We now know that the shooters, and I don't even know if they're really the ones, because we were told initially there were 3 men, not a man and a woman, but that's a different story. What we know is that Syed Rizwan Farook and Tashfeen Malik, his charming bride, had a rather large deposit made into their bank account for $28,500. I believe it was 2 weeks prior to this madness. Now, how difficult is it for the FBI to determine that that money was given to them for the purposes that they used it for, which is to end up slaughtering innocent people? It is an act of absolute terrorism. And you know what's really amazing about all this is when it all gets unraveled? We ultimately funded those murders with our oil dollars. Yeah, see, when you buy gasoline and that oil comes from Saudi Arabia, well, you're actually funding terrorism, because it's Saudi Arabia that I believe that has always been responsible for every single terrorist act that's taking place anywhere in the world. It all comes back to Saudi Arabia. You think not? Well, you're not thinking. We'll see how independent James Comey is. He needs to come forward, and he needs to call it what it was: Islamic extremist terrorism. We don't care what Obama calls it, because he can't say it, and I've told you why. Neither he or any of his cohorts can say it, because they can't talk disparagingly about Islam. They are radical, extremist Muslims. He's taken over our entire government, which is why we're in deep, deep, deep doo-doo. You think not? Once again, you're not thinking. We'll see how long it takes James Comey to call it what it was: an act of Islamic extremist terrorism.